And then we wonder why kids quit. We wonder why they drop out. Because we haven't looked at our culture to see who is on the fringes and what we need to do to bring more who are served a lot better. Remember those 3 barriers: sense of entitlement, unwilling to change, and oppression. Just think about how it feels if you're in a system of oppression, and most school systems have tracking. What if you don't belong in that lower class and nobody will let you out? What if you got put in special ed because you couldn't communicate the way the dominant culture, the ones who get to stay the same, what if you can't communicate like Mike, who was from the Creek Nation, who was giving his respect, and the teacher thought he wasn't very bright and had a meeting to put him in special ed? And he's helpless. And if it wasn't for a teacher who knew something about the Creek Nation to explain to the others, Mike, who has a master's degree today, he teaches 7th grade at a middle school, might not have made it. He may have dropped out, just like Miss Stubbs. And she said, I don't want to play this no more. That's how frustrated she got. And you guys have been playing this game for about 40 minutes.
Well, can I add something to that?
And yeah, just think of our kids who have to play this game for 13 years. Just think about that. You had 40 minutes. And don't tell me your emotions weren't not real, because I saw y'all doing all your little stuff. And when she walked over to get the water, Franklin walked over and said, and she went. That was real, wasn't it? What did that feel like for you?
Well, I mean, like I said, when we got to this table, I knew that the rules were different. And, you know, like, I'm not a big card player, and then, like, you know, anyway. So, we're playing cards, and now we got some new rules at every table. Okay, they just snatched my card. You know, and I was like, just forget it. And I just started looking out the window, which made me think about, like, my students in class. And, you know, like, there's so much that I try to share with them that, you know, they don't get to experience because, you know, like everyone's sitting here like drawing their pictures trying to tell what people are trying to share, but you know, no one's getting it because after a little while.
Well, they don't have the language for it. So one of the things we've got to do in culture, if you're trying to reculturate, you got to teach the language of the culture. I gave you guys a language of a culture called playing cards. Some of you didn't even know what a trump was, right? Because you sat over there just like that, shaking your head. She was doing this the whole time. She didn't even know what a trump was. So we make assumptions what kids know and what people ought to know about the culture that just may not be so, and they might not have the language for it. So yeah, you know how to just throw out a card, but if you don't know what a trump means, you don't know what an ace is, how are you supposed to
play?
That's right, how you supposed to play. Other comments, other connections you're making to your work as school folks. Yes.
And then like now, when we did like move, because I thought this was interesting, because we moved to everybody's table. You know, so, but when we did move, it was time for us to move again. They got over here, they were like, oh, y'all are moving again? And we're like, and I'm sitting there like, but you're moving too. That's fine.
Oh, so you've been in special ed for 5 years.
Right. Oh, you're moving again?
Right.
Aren't you moving?
Right.
Okay.
One thing I recognize as far as from a cultural sort of thing, and once I figured out that I had no buy-in, I was like most of my special ed students who are intelligent, have prerequisite skills to be able to at least learn in that grade level, maybe not meet that expectation because of the 1 out of 8 days that they try, for a period of 5 years. But you know, I didn't even care enough to write a note. I didn't care enough to tell you I don't care. I didn't care enough to when my partner quit, I just, yeah, that was what it don't matter to me. I mean, because see, I wasn't there for any purpose other than I have to be here until 3:50 to get my car and go home. Now, I have benefited greatly from this class, but at that period of time, you're talking about the 5 to 6, 1. I mean, but now that I know what the assignment was, that was the emotion that was right.
And the thing was, like, he was my partner, and I wanted to tell him when we were over here, but we couldn't talk. I wanted to say, you know, the rules are different. The rules are different, but, you know.
And see, and I knew the rules were different, but I figured out, and I saw your frustration going, but I'm so pitiful when it comes to, let's say, drawing, and I thought,
And the rules are different for AP kids than they are for Title I kids.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Even the
Go ahead.
activity was fabulous because of that reason. That it, to me, spoke to, sometimes we give out activities and assignments that children have no point of reference. There's no interest, there's no buy-in, there's no nothing, but I'm going to get through this class period and the best way I can. And it might be like pulling a card, or snatch a card from her because she's all into it and she's winning. But guess what? I'm going to stop that. But I was like, oh, you're not going to win this one now. So I started snatching her cards.
Okay?
Well, just
Okay, you're next.
Assert. So when you assert yourself, this is an important point because a lot of kids get in trouble for, quote, being too aggressive.
My daughter.
And what they get in trouble for, quote, being too aggressive.
My daughter.
And what they're doing is asserting themselves into the situation because there's no other way to get in. So this is out of
That's
control.
right.
So you look and see who's always out of control by the definitions of the school. Those are the kids who are on the margin who are trying to assert themselves into the situation because they have no way to get in. Just want you to think about that. If you look at the suspension rolls, see who's getting suspended the most, who's trying to assert themselves, and you have to ask some questions. Why do they feel the need to be assertive? And you feel the need to feel assertive because you can't get into a place of discovery. You can't get into a place of cooperation so you can participate. So I got to now assert myself, which means I'm most likely going to get in trouble doing it.
Yeah,
You follow that?
Campbell Jones did come over here and kind of hover, and I was like, okay, I'm going to come there.
How you going to go to detention?